Good evening, Year 11, and welcome to your night before news for Maths Paper 1 for Foundation. So tomorrow you're going to be sitting your first mock exam. Paper 1 is non-calculator, and because of that, we can predict some things which are extremely likely to be in this exam. The first of those is fractions, adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. And the same, the four operations with decimals. These are really likely to be in non-calculator papers, and we see them all the time. You might also see some estimation, unit conversions, lots of algebra, speed, distance, time, money, fractions, amounts, percentages and ratios, exact trigonometric values, which you might not have studied, but will only probably be 1 or 2 marks, or proportion. Lots of these things are extremely likely in the non-calculated paper, and we see them every single year coming up in paper 1. If I was going to recommend the most important thing to make sure you're confident with, it'd be those top 2 things. Even if there is no specific question doing those, you might have to do them in other questions as it's a non-calculator paper. There are also some other things we know are going to be likely in this exam, which are these things listed here. So converting between fractions, decimals and percentages come up in almost every paper. The nth term of a sequence may come up, or highest common factor, lowest common multiple, angle facts, plotting graphs, error intervals and transformations. It's possible we may also see some of these things. So there's lots and lots of things here that could come up in this paper 1, and we don't know exactly what's going to be there. But think about some of those things that you might have in your exam that could be non-calculator. Conversions, unit conversions, always really popular. Algebra might come up, or some sort of bar chart, frequency tree, stem and leaf, pictogram, some sort of statistical diagram. So what can you do this evening to help you? Well, if you want to look at any of those specific topics I've just mentioned, the first place to go is Sparks Maths. You've been using the revision clips on Sparks Maths, which are really useful, but you also have the independent learning section where you can make sure you can search for topics that are going to be most relevant to you. Fractions, decimals, basic algebra skills, what you think you need to focus on. You could also do the same thing using something called ExamQ. And on ExamQ, there are loads and loads and loads of different questions from previous exam papers. I would suggest that you search for paper, make sure you choose paper 1 non-calculator, and find those topics again that are most relevant to you. See the type of questions come up, see the way that they're worded, and you can also see the specific mark scheme, so you can see where the marks might be for this question, as you can see here. The third place you could go is another website called Maths Genie. On Maths Genie, make sure you click GCSE revision at the top, and you'll then be able to filter it and choose again those topics that you want to revise. This is again a really good place to see what GCSE questions look like. You could also go to Corbett Maths, and here there are loads of questions to practice those key skills as well. Make sure you're choosing what is best for you. You could also go to First Class Maths. Make sure you choose GCSE Edexcel, and then you can see exam questions and solutions on some more really common topics. And if you look in that far right column, you can see the percentage of exams that's come up in previously. So if that's a really high number, it means it's really likely we're going to see it. You might want to do practice papers, and if you do, Maths Genie is the place to go. Go to GCSE papers at the top, choose Edexcel, and then choose some practice papers. Make sure you're doing paper 1, so you're practicing those non-calculator skills. Tomorrow morning, the hub is open from 7 AM. There'll be maths teachers in the hub from 7 o'clock for your last minute revision. Bring some questions you haven't been able to answer. Although it might feel really good and it boosts your confidence to bring some questions that you know you can do in the morning of an exam, the most important ones are those ones you can't do. Because if you can't do it in your revision tonight, then you need to make sure you've got that corrected before the exam tomorrow. You can pick up 5 or 6 marks on key skills that you might struggle with tonight if you bring the right questions in tomorrow and you ask the right people to help you. And those people are your teachers. Yes, your friends might be able to help you to some extent, but get to that hub at 7 o'clock and use members of staff there to help you. There will then be revision in the conservatory/canteen using our breakfast mats. Here there's a higher one, but you'll see a foundation one. And again, on these mats, look for the questions that you do not know how to do. There is no point practicing something you're confident on, because that is not going to help you. Use those revision mats, target those things that you know you struggle with, and get help with them. Couple bits of final reminders here that are really important when we sit exams. Attempt every question. Quite simple. If you leave a question blank, it's 0 marks. If you write down that you're going to do a multiplication, if you write down that you're going to add some things together, even if you try and even if you get it wrong, you might get a process mark that's better than nothing. Read the last line before you move on. It's really frustrating marking exam papers when students have done every single thing right and they haven't simplified their answer. They haven't written their fraction as a mixed number. They've lost out on that final mark. And think about those sensible answers. If you're doing a speed question, you're saying that someone's going to run at 90 miles per hour because you've maybe not done a conversion. Does that make sense? Think about what you're putting in your exam when you double check your answers. And use all of your time. As I say, try every question, but reread every question. Double check any multiplications you've done. Are you happy with your answers? Good luck. Year 11, make the most of tonight, and then tomorrow morning come in ready to go with those questions you know you need help on. Good luck.